Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Time Attack Round 5. Today we are at Anglesey, which is, it's very novel for me. It's novel for a lot of our drivers. We don't often come to Anglesey. In fact, I can't even remember the last time, if ever, Time Attack was here. This is brave new territory for us here. Many of our drivers as well. You can see Andrew Kime there in that little Citroen Saxo, having won the last round at Alton Park. Just making his way around Anglesey now, of course. Whole different part of the country. Some would say it's a whole different country, of course, as well, given that today we are in Wales. As northwest, basically, as it goes. And, of course, those of you who have been fortunate enough to visit Anglesey in the past will know what an incredibly beautiful circuit this is. And if you look on your screens, you'll see a little bit of seaside in the background. Not even seaside, like literal sea, ocean, Irish Sea in the background. It's an absolutely phenomenal place to be. Antonio Giovinazzo there on your screens now in the classic and retro Alfa Romeo. Of course, the Time Attack legend. He and his brother have been around Time Attack for absolutely ages. Nicholas Stott there in that Mini Cooper Coupe. Now, those of you that you can see the sea in the background, how cool is that? How cool. I just love Anglesey. I just love Anglesey so much. Awesome. I'm going to probably dwell on that a bit more as the day goes on. You can see there the Mount Snowdon in the background and like the sea. It's just the most dramatic vista that you can imagine. And those of you who were with us last round at Alton Park will know that this Clubman session is now divided into 4 classes. We have Clubman, Clubman Plus, Pocket Rocket, and now Classic and Retro, given that we have enough cars to warrant spinning them off into their own class. We have Antonio Giovinazzo in the number 27 3GS Motorsport Alfa Romeo 155, and we also have Stuart Tranter in the 220 Retro Racing Rover 220 Tomcat. Both of these single round entries, so ineligible for points. Actually, just looking at Nicholas Stott here coming by in that Mini, you can just see how crisp the visuals are today. Absolutely incredible. That's like some real HD 4K stuff. I actually don't know what it's rated at, but it's very, very crispy, and it's good to see on the screen. I'm actually not in the commentary tower today. I'm in the broadcasting trailer, so like you, I am pretty much limited to watching what is on my screens, so you viewers and me are really living this shared experience today. I can see a few of you here in the comments on Facebook. I am going to try to keep an eye on these, just mentioning, yes, 20 minutes behind already. Chris Atkins running behind. Yes, that is true, but as you know, this is motorsport. This is how it goes. It's like trying to herd cats, etc. But the main thing is that now we are going, and you can see Nicholas Stott there just peeling off into the pit lane. Let's have a look. So then on your screens we have the Renault Sport Clio of Stephen Wilkinson, the hashtag Team W Racing in that slightly later shape Clio than what we're used to seeing on track. You know, the 172, the 182 Clio being a massively popular platform for track days and Time Attack and sprints and so on. Steve Wilkinson then bringing slightly newer machinery, and Stephen Wilkinson having made that jump from Time Attack Run What You Brung into the full-fat Time Attack Championship. Something that we've seen a few drivers do. Samuel Pickering as well has made a similar transition into the full-time championship. I can see there some of the comments. New live feed is good. Thank you very much, Chris. This is indeed a shiny, new, very crisp feed. Love to see it. And I'm glad that you guys are seeing that as well. Danny saying, Team Confusion, bring on the rain and watch it go. Team Confusion, you may remember that Ford Fusion being involved in a bit of a heavy incident at Brands Hatch a little while ago. Needing reshelling, which actually the team did. The team found an identity. You know, if you didn't know, you'd see that car on the track now and think it was the same car as what went out at Brands Hatch. But of course, as you will know, the one at Alton Park was a whole new reshell. They found the same car in the same spec and the same color, and then built that back up into the car that you see today. Pretty much a replica of the car that was written off at Brands Hatch. So really good to see the Team Confusion machine back. Rob Boston at the wheel this time. Rob Boston, also the driver who was piloting it at Brands Hatch. And the Ford Fusion of Team Confusion being driven by a different member of the team every round. They're on a little bit of a rota, and so it's Rob Boston's turn again here at Anglesey. Let's have a look at the other Mini then that you can see on your screens. This is the number 34 machine of Andrew Hawes, the Mini Challenge 210. And Andrew explained to me a little bit earlier on about what the 210 means, why that's significant. That's because there's only 210 of this particular edition made. It's a very special car indeed. This one's supported by Tarox brakes and built by Garage 34. There we go with those angry eyelids, being angry at the opposition for even daring to try to compete with him. Andrew Hawes then in Clubman class, hoping to go as best as he can. And in fact, having done pretty well last time, he won Clubman by the looks of things at Alton Park. Just got these results back up on my screen. So Andrew Hawes there with those angry eyes, just trying to stare down and intimidate the opposition in that Mini Challenge 210. Cliff, if you're relatively new to Time Attack, then the cars are classed based on their extent of their modification, really. So Clubman and Clubman Plus are both kind of mostly standard cars with some safety equipment and some basic things like, coilovers, bucket seats, a cage if you're feeling flush. But generally speaking, the Clubman and Clubman Plus cars are very much road-going machines. And the division between Clubman and Clubman Plus is, it kind of depends on what that car's potential is. A Nissan GTR or, something spicy. We've got Chris Butcher in the Lexus ISF. That would be Clubman Plus. And something like a Mazda RX-8 or a Mini would be in Clubman. But they're built to the same level of modification. Classic and Retro, then, is for older chassis. Like you can see Antonio Giovinazzo now on your screen in that Alfa Romeo 155. That has been around Time Attack for as long as I can remember, which is longer than I want to think about. And and so Classic and Retro is for these older platforms. You see Tim Bedford there in that Mazda RX-8 in the Richard Henry Motorsport car. You can see Chris Butcher then with a purple lap time going fastest of anyone so far. No. That's not what that means, sorry. Like you, dear viewers, I'm trying to get my head around the new timing. Actually, it's Andrew Kime who's gone fastest of everybody with a 121.1. So he is very much leading this session in the little pocket rocket Citroen Saxo. And Chris Butcher there in that Clubman Plus Lexus ISF. Just coming around there. And this is pretty much Chris Butcher's daily driver. He drives it to these events. He smashes out a whole day of Time Attack and then drives it home. I just saw them earlier today. He was just swapping on the track wheels. And he did he's going to do a whole day of motorsport, put back on the road wheels and drive back home and then just go about his daily driving life with that car. I'm a big fan of Chris Butcher and that Lexus ISF combo. You can see a bit of mini-on-mini violence there as Andrew Hawes goes around the outside of the other Mini Cooper. Oh, there we go. Andrew Kime lifting a wheel. Look at that. That is very cool. Tripoding its way around Anglesey. It's one of those cars that I actually wonder whether it is ever on four wheels. These little super stiff front wheel drive hatchbacks then delivering the goods, cocking that wheel. There we go. Makes his way round. Does Andrew Kime again. Alton Park winner in his class. And now we have Tom Moon in the Aggravation Racing Subaru Impreza. Andrew Kime puts in a 1:18.8. Very, very fast indeed. 2.3 seconds clear of anybody else. Second fastest overall and second fastest in class is Michael Birch in that Tegoa Racing Honda Civic with a 121.1. You can see that Mini going a little bit slowly there, just making its way off the track. There we go, Chris Butcher in that. You can see how shiny that car is. He's presumably spent all morning cleaning the thing. You could just see it's driving around like a mirror, reflecting off those wibbly wobbly bollards boots in that glistening paintwork is Chris Butcher. And then we have also Pocket Rocket class. We've seen Andrew Kime, we've seen a few of the other cars, Rob Boston in that Ford Fusion. So Pocket Rocket is a class for cars with smaller engines, basically. So they allow a little bit more modification than Clubman and Clubman Plus. And it's a class that's open specifically to cars if they are naturally aspirated of 2 liters and below, and if they are forced induction, then 1.6 liters and below. So it's for truly dinky little cars. We've seen some interesting entries in Pocket Rocket in the past, which are actually not cars that you would traditionally consider as such. There are things like Ford Focuses, maybe even, I think we've had a couple of saloons in there, but crucially, it's for cars with small engines. That does normally mean they are little cars themselves, but of course that doesn't mean you can't have a big car with, say, a 1.6 turbo. That would still be eligible for Pocket Rocket, even though I'm not sure how well advised that would be. You can see the overall timing then on your screens with the color coding denoting what class the drivers are in. So we have pink for Pocket Rocket, orange for Clubman, red for Clubman Plus, and black for Classic and Retro. So that's what we're looking at with these drivers here. Andrew Kime then goes faster still with a 1:17.1 minute lap. It's a short circuit here at Anglesey. It doesn't take long for our drivers to make their way around here. And especially given that we are running the shorter layout for Time Attack. The one that does not include the Tom Price straight and the hairpin. There we go. Tim Bedford then in that Mazda RX-8, who we've seen in the past. He is very comfortable with getting his car a little bit sideways, getting a little bit of slip angle on there. I don't think there's been a single round where we've had live coverage where he has not amused us all greatly with his sideways antics. And the crazy thing is that he just handles it with such comfort. You know, that's just his natural way of being. And often when cars are trying to go quick and they're also sideways, it looks a little bit sketchy. You're kind of thinking, is this person actually in control? But Tim Bedford, he just works especially well with a bit of slip angle. That is his happy place. That's his comfort zone. And so Tim Bedford then, whether that's in his Subaru Impreza of years gone by or in this Mazda RX-8, he delivers the goods sideways. That is his style. And let's see Tim Bedford then with that style. You know, it works for him. He is currently first in class. You can see there on the top left of your screen, T. Bed and the number 63 car in the orange class. That stands for Clubman with a 122.2. Bearing in mind, this is only warm-up, and this is something that we reiterate time and time again when we're doing our driver's briefings, is that warm-up is warm-up. Please don't push. You don't want to bin your car in warm-up. Trust me, I've done that. I feel very silly. This is 2 years ago, and I still suffering the pain. So yeah, warm-up is warm-up. It is a little bit soggy here as well at Anglesey, but it isn't even, you know, when it's raining properly, you know what you're dealing with. What we have here today is it's kind of greasy. It's rainy in spots, it's dry in other spots, it's a bit greasy here, it's less greasy there. You know, these are actually really tricky conditions to drive in because you're always trying to find where the grip is on the track and try to find yourself that comfort zone so that you can just settle into learning the track and then putting in those quick laps. Whereas in conditions like these, really you're going to spend a lot of your time learning the track before you can actually start putting in some serious lap times. Rob Boston then, with his headlights ablaze, is putting in fast lap times. That is what the headlights mean. Headlights mean get out of my way. I am on a fast lap. Marshals will blue flag anybody holding you up. And Rob Boston then, despite being only warm-up, is just about to put in those quick times. Having a look here. I can't see Rob Boston on that Pocket Rocket list, so I'm wondering who is driving that car today. And it is actually Paul Waddington. Never mind, this entry list is... Got an old entry list, so let's change that to Paul Waddington. So actually, I think Paul Waddington was also driving at Alton Park. So Paul Waddington then is actually in the car. Today, you can see, ended the session in third. The checkered flag is out. Antonio Giovinazzo just making his way around there very gingerly in that Alfa 155. Having put in a fast lap so far of 143.3, so a good 20 seconds plus off the other drivers. But Antonio Giovinazzo not having done loads of time attack recently and just needing a little bit of time to find his way around. So the checkered flag is out, and that rounds up our Clubman warm-up. Next up is our club session for more modified cars. You know, as we looked at, these are kind of the entry level of modification. Club has Club 2-wheel drive and Club 4-wheel drive, which actually now begins to explore a wider, bigger scope of modification, including, you know, big Clubman, for example, doesn't allow any aerodynamic modifications, and all kinds of other stuff. You can't open up your engine block if you're in Clubman. Sorry, you can't. You know, if you're not forged from the factory, then tough luck. You can't change your gearbox. You know, this is at least in my understanding of the rules. Whereas the club classes are a little bit more open. So really, you're getting to a point where, you know, you're not quite at the pro level where anything goes, really. But Club 2-wheel drive and Club 4-wheel drive is kind of that halfway house between the very light modifications that we're seeing now in Clubman session and the open rulebook free-for-all that we're going to see in pro. So Club 2-wheel drive is a really interesting class. By the way, let me just mention this also, that if you are watching along at home, which I presume you are, because I don't think this is going over the tannoy at the circuit. Maybe it is, who knows? But if you are watching from a computer and not live, then you can go onto the TSL website. That stands for Tango Sierra Lima. You know, if there's a particular driver, oh, look at that sea. Look at that sea. Look at that view. Incredible. Yeah, so absolutely bring up the TSL timing website, and you can get access to the same timing screen that I am using right now. And that's really handy if you're interested in following a particular driver, or, you know, you're just crazy about the sport and you want more data at your fingertips. Then go onto the TSL website. If you're here live, you could do that on your mobile phone. If you're watching at home, then just crack open the laptop, tablet, desktop PC, whatever, and you can bring up your TSL timing as well and have access to all that juicy data and all those statistics right at your fingertips. And in fact, I'm just clicking around now. Statistics, fastest lap history, class. I can even divide it down by class. So out of Pocket Rocket, it's Andrew Kime has set the fastest time attack lap of the day with a 117.1. So all these interesting insights and more, including the little map where you can see, you know, you can track the drivers going around the map in real time. All very cool stuff. So, yep, absolutely bring up the TSL timing screen on your device if you want to have that extra viewing experience as though you're here at the trackside. Here we go then. These are the results. Andrew Kime fastest by some margin in Pocket Rocket, so he is really keen to get cracking in that Citroen Saxo. Clubman Plus then, Chris Butcher leads from the Subaru Impreza wagon of Tom Moon, and then Clubman is Andrew Hawes from Tim Bedford from Clive Hopwell in that other Mini Cooper. And let's now take a look at Classic and Retro. Then we have Stuart Tranter in that Rover 220 Tomcat leading from Antonio Giovinazzo in the Alfa Romeo 155. So, next up is our Club warm-up. And this is subdivided into Club 2-wheel drive and Club 4-wheel drive. You can probably guess why they are divided as such. What those divisions mean. So we have, and so Club 2-wheel drive has always been a pretty popular class in time attack. I wonder if it's our most popular class. I think it is. And that's kind of been the trend for a very long time. And like I mentioned, so the Clubman classes are for cars that aren't very extensively modified, and the Pro classes are for the really big budget, really extreme builds. So, you know, like me, like you, if you've modified your car a fair bit now, chances are you've modified it beyond what is allowable in Clubman, and not enough for it to be really competitive and pro. So the most natural class for it to be in then is Club two-wheel drive. So for that reason, we see a lot of cars, a lot of builds in Club two-wheel drive. And it's probably our most diverse and varied class that we have here in Time Attack as well. You know, unlike some other motorsports, which are maybe a spec series, you know, that are open to only one model of car, or perhaps even if it's like something like a GT, you know, GT3 type competition or touring cars, which is a handful of cars. For me, the real beauty of Time Attack is that it's just such a massive, huge mixture of cars, sometimes competing in the same class. So even, you know, we look at Club two-wheel drive now, which is, again, our most popular class, and we have David Dyson in the Porsche 911 GT3. We have a DC2 Honda Integra Type R. We have a new and an old Seat Leon. We have the BMW M3, the current shape of Natalie Brooks, the Foster machine, and the older shape of Mike Butler, the JC Performance DTM-inspired machine. Mitsubishi Colt, and a Caterham Supersport. So, you know, this is for me this is really why I love Time Attack so much. I've been involved for a long time now. I mean, I feel like it's going to be time to celebrate 10 years actually quite soon. And what keeps me here is just the variety of cars. You know, I firmly believe that if you are a car enthusiast, then there is no better motorsport for you to be involved in, for you to watch. It's just absolutely awesome. So let's let these drivers just find their way around a slightly greasy Anglesey. I'm going to take a sip of water, and I'll be right back with you in a sec. So Samuel Pickering there getting a little bit of a wobble in that Subaru Impreza. And I mentioned before we had Stephen Wilkinson in Pocket Rocket making that jump from Run What You Brung into the full fat Time Attack Championship. Samuel Pickering having done that similar transition himself in the BC Racing Subaru Impreza Type RA. And to give you a little bit of context, if you're perhaps new to the Time Attack fold, there is a session class. I'm not really sure how to call it. I guess kind of like a session. So Time Attack do this thing called Run What You Brung as well. Because as you may know, Time Attack is quite an extensive rule book, including the need to run a control Pirelli Trofeo R tire. And of course, committing to a full season is quite a big commitment, financially, time-wise, and so on. And so just to let people dip their toe into the sea that is Time Attack, they launched this Run What You Brung initiative a few years ago. And so Run What You Brung is kind of a more cost-effective way to just try Time Attack for yourself. Get to be part of the show, you know, get a feel for the paddock, a feel for the competition. The rule book is more relaxed. You can run any tire you want, any build really that you want. And so Run What You Brung is kind of made up of a whole different bunch of, you know, perhaps there are people who have competition cars whose schedules don't allow them to commit to a full season of Time Attack, so they just want to do a couple of, you know, like shakedowns here and there. Or there are people who are in the early stages of their build trying to figure out, you know, whether they want to do Time Attack proper or not. And so Run What You Brung is kind of for that. It's not competitive, strictly speaking. You know, there's no points, there's no podiums, trophies, or anything like that. And reason being, it's kind of tricky to understand what the running order should be, the pecking order, when the rule book is as open as it is. And so Samuel Pickering then, in that Subaru Impreza, you know, a very, very, very quick Run What You Brung driver. But of course, when you're running that open rule book, you don't really know what any of that means, right? You need to run within, you know, if you want to be competitive, you want to be part of your competition, you want your lap times to stack up and to compare against everyone else, you need to be running to the same rules as everyone else, in the same championship as everyone else. So, you know, when these Run What You Brung drivers get a taste for that competition, and actually they think, yeah, I'm pretty quick, I now want to put my money where my mouth is, they then make that jump into the Time Attack Championship. So we see in Club 4-Wheel Drive, we've got Samuel Pickering having done that. And let's have a look at some of these other drivers. We also have we got him here today? the Audi S3 of Roman Grendel. Doesn't look like he's actually made it out here today. But I think Roman Grendel was another driver who made that transition from what you run what you brung into Club 2-wheel drive. Anyways, let's have a look at what's happening here. Then, so we've got Neil Greenland in that Mitsubishi Colt. We did have two Mitsubishi Colts in this class last time, as you may remember, and they were they were really running the show in a way. They were very, very quick machines indeed. These two Mitsubishi Colts. However, we are now down to but one Colt because the other, which was entered by Simon Norris of Norris Designs, that was actually his spare car while his Pro Extreme Mitsubishi Evo was off the road. And you will be pleased to know that the Norris Designs short wheelbase Mitsubishi Evo is back. And so we will see Simon Norris later on today, not in the Colt, but actually back in his Evo. Let's have a look then. We've got Jonathan Ellsworth in the JGE Racing Caterham Supersport F190. Mixing it up here in Club 2-wheel drive again. Oh, going very slowly around there. I think he's just allowing some of that faster traffic through. Jonathan Ellsworth in that Caterham there. You can see his cool-down light flashing on the back of the car. Samuel Pickering then goes fastest in class with a 117.9. And in fact, fastest in the session overall in the number 661 machine. David Dyson then, displacing Samuel Pickering with a 116.8 in that Porsche 911 GT3. Super fast car, very fast driver, and that combination then delivering the goods. Bearing in mind this is only warm-up, so hopefully these drivers can find some chill, because this is only warm-up. You're not scoring any points. Yeah, so David Dyson there, fastest in class, fastest overall with a 116.8 in that Porsche 911 GT3. So let's see. His nearest competition then is Michael Butler, by the looks of things, with that older shape E92 chassis BMW M3. With that, those are both Honda Integras. It's a lot of white coupes with wings here in Time Attack in Club 2-wheel drive today. Let's have a look. Is that Johnny Fletcher with Hayden King hot on his heels? Both of these Club 2-wheel drive David Dyson. What's this? Okay, so let's have a look at these two Honda Integras then. Sean O'Mara and James Dover in their Delano-built racing Honda Integras, a DC5 chassis and DC2 chassis. There we go, the newer one in front, the number 145 car of Sean O'Mara, the DC2. And then just behind him there, the car of James Dover, that DC5 chassis. If you're wondering what the light blinking on the back of the car means, that's to tell people around that they are on a cool-down lap, both to the marshals, to race control, to other competitors, that they are on a cool-down lap, and if required to do so, they will move out of the way for a faster car. And of course, those of you who've driven on track will know that, generally speaking, both car and driver can't really handle fast lap after fast lap after fast lap for, 15, 20 minutes non-stop. You've got to cool down your brain. You've got to cool down your car. And so that's kind of the point here, is drivers put on their lights to signal that they're on a fast lap, and they switch off their lights and put on their cool-down lights to signal that they are on a cool-down lap. And of course, track position priority goes to those in a hot lap, so those in a cool-down lap need to yield. And this is part of the Time Attack. This is what makes Time Attack so interesting, is because you're not just here to set a quick lap time in isolation. If you wanted to be the only person on track doing laps, which is a little bit boring in my opinion, then there are other events that cater to that. Hill climbs and sprints and rallies and stuff like like that. The whole point of time attack is that you're doing it on a circuit full of other people trying to do the same thing. So yes, being able to set a quick lap time is part of the skill, but also being able to navigate the traffic and to have a high level of awareness and track etiquette, that's a real part of the time attack arsenal of skills that you need to develop. So let's have a look then. The number 964 machine of Chrissy Martin, the GR Performance Super Impreza GC8, that classic shape now. And looks like Kevin Thieker there. So both of these drivers are orange, which means that they are setting personal bests, as you can see on your screen there. So again, some of you noticed on the feed that we have got a slightly different looking stream today, and the time readout at the bottom of your screen is also color coded. So orange means that the drivers are on a personal best sector. Anglesey has only 2 sectors, which is why you can see that the left hand side is orange and the right hand side little bar is black under each name that you see at the bottom of your screen. And that's because there are only 2 colored bars, because there are only 2 sectors here at Anglesey. So Kevin Thieker and Neil Greenland doing personal best in Sector 1, and a gray lap time. Gray color means no improvement in Sector 2. Let's have a look. 14 comments. Eden Young. Eden Young of GizFab fame running that K11 micro saying, "Hey Alexi, babe, wish I was there today, X. Babe, I wish you were here too. It's lonely without you, boo." I'm wanting to hear Simon Norris's Evo in the Pro class. Want to hear the cars. Any microphones around the circuit so we can hear the cars. I don't have an answer for that. Let's have a look. Mick Nelson saying, "Team Confusion Motorsport, kudos for coming back after that horrible crash just a couple of months ago." Absolutely massive kudos to Team Confusion for being able to reshell and rebuild that car. I mean, it would have been impressive had they taken a month out to do it from Brands Hatch in time for Anglesey, but they just did it in a matter of 2 weeks in time for Alton Park. Absolutely phenomenal effort there from Team Confusion. And yep. Let's just have a look. Again, Team Confusion has a lot of fans who turn out in their dozens onto the Facebook comments. So it's great to see. Great to see you guys getting involved. If you do have any questions, please do shoot them my way. I'll do my best to answer them. If I cannot answer them, then I will find somebody more intelligent, which isn't difficult, who can answer them. So, yep, that's cool. So here we go. Natalie Brooks then in the faster machine, the 223 F80 chassis BMW M3. Running many horsepowers is that machine. She was talking with my colleague Susie Wallace, our pit lane reporter, a couple of rounds ago, saying that even on low boost, it's something like high 600s of horsepowers. So it's a very fast machine. And of course, Natalie herself, very quick driver too. So it'll be interesting to see what we can do here at Anglesey, because this is a track really like no other. If I had to compare it to something, perhaps I'd say it's maybe a little bit like Cadwell Park, just in terms of, it's got that rural kind of, almost like a rally track feel. It's narrow, it's fast, you've got lots of hills, lots of ups and downs, not really much in the way of straights per se. You're always, it's a circuit that really keeps you awake, because as you're driving it, it's just corner. So, yep. Anglesey is a very unique challenge. And of course, those of you who've perhaps been to other events here, drifting events, Drift Matsuri, whatever, you'll know, especially in there's a two-gay section, which is just really hilly. Anglesey is, in all of its layouts, is a great challenge to drive. If you are running the full layout with the Tom Price straight into the hairpin, even that run down to the hairpin's kind of downhill as well. Really interesting circuit to drive. Andy Lawrence here saying lots of manned cameras, great setup here. Thank you very much for your feedback, Andy. I'm glad you like it. And the team there running the stream, you know, they can hear that feedback. I've just relayed that back. It's great to see that. Thank you very much. Leandro Silva saying, that's us next year. I absolutely hope so, Leandro. The more we have in Time Attack, the merrier. So absolutely join us. That would be great. Johnny Fletcher there setting a 129.9, failing to improve on his personal best. Let's have a look at where we're at with the timing. Bearing in mind, this is only... finish. There we go. Yeah, because this is only warm-up. So, of course, it's warm-up for the drivers. It's also warm-up for my vocal cords and my brain. So, yes. Yes, good to see, you know, the jostling in the comments. Get involved in the conversation. Let's talk about cars. Let's talk about lap times, all that good stuff. So David Dyson then ends that session quickest of all and quickest in class with a 1:16.3. Samuel Pickering ending his class on top with a 1:16.9. Michael Butler then putting in a last-minute hot lap, the 1:17.8. Good enough for second fastest in class is Michael Butler in that E92 shape BMW M3. So great effort there. Bearing in mind this is only warm-up, you don't win any points for that. And in fact, if you were to set a lap record in warm-up or practice, that would not count in the history books because this session is not officially classified. So there is absolutely no need to push hard or take risks or anything like that in this session. Because it's really just there to warm up yourself, to warm up your car, to get a feel for how the track is today. Because a lot of your car setup, you know, obviously you can only access your car generally when it is stationary and when it is cold. And so when you're setting up your spring rates, you're setting up your alignment, you're setting up your tire pressures, your aero, you are doing that in anticipation of what you think it will be when it's on track. And of course, you know, if you've got a little bit of telemetry, if you've got a lot of data to back you up, you can make some really educated guesses. But until your car is on track that day, you know, you've got tires, you've got wind speed at play, you've got the weather at play, track temperature, air temperature. There's a lot that you will only understand once you are out on track. And so the warm-up is kind of part of that, where not only the drivers are understanding the track conditions in terms of their own approach to the drive, it also helps them understand how to set up their car for the competitive sessions ahead. So really, if you're out setting super quick lap times and pushing hard in warm-up, then I would argue that you're barking up the wrong tree, because actually what this session is for is you're collecting data, you're collecting insights for how to approach your day later on. That being said then, our final drivers are now making their way back into the pit lane in preparation for our pro cars to go out on track. Again, if you do want to see some particular, you know, stats or lap times in detail, please do consider bringing up the TSL timing website where all the information is there right at your fingertips. Super handy. Andy Lawrence says, commentator is pretty engaging too. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Actually, last time out, I got getting quite a few. I was under a bit of heat last time. I don't think I had many fans for whatever reason. Especially when we have lots of red flags, it kind of turns into Radio Alexi because there's not much happening on track, which I don't think everyone is completely on board with. So I appreciate the positive feedback. Thank you very much, Andy. Pro level next. Asks Course Define. Yes, pro level is next. What time is Simon Norris on track? Asks Gethin Bevan Jones. Well, actually, that's going to be right now. And can we have some sound for the cars on track, please? Okay, yep. Let's just have what else are you guys saying? That's us next. So Leandro Silva saying, car is ready, being tested this year. Leandro, let us know in the comments what you are testing. Maybe you can drop a picture. I can see you got a little photograph there. It looks like a That's a pre-facelift Mark II MX-5 by the looks of things. Do let us know if that's what you're testing, what class you're going to enter, what your build spec is. This is warm-up. We've got time to chew the fat, so send me all of your details, all of your pictures, questions, whatever it is. What Pro? Yep, so Pro are next, and Simon Norris will be next in that Norris Design short wheelbase Mitsubishi Evo. The results are on your screens now, and we will be back in a sec with the Pro session. I'm going to have a sip of water. Could just see David Lawrence there being recovered in that Seat Leon. David Lawrence in the LSR Motorsport entry, the number 556 car, the 556 car, the newer shape Leon Cupra with that kind of TCR inspired build, little bit wider than standard. It's got that touring car looking livery. DSG gearbox. So David Lawrence with a car that he's built in kind of the spirit of what a modern day touring car would be, having this year buddied up with Nicholas Stott in that Mini R58 Cupra S Coupe and Pocket Rocket, forming together between them LSR Motorsport, which I presume stands for Lawrence Stott Racing Motorsport. Even though Time Attack is not racing because our drivers are not competing for track position, they're not going wheel to wheel. But there we go. Anyway, so the Pro session then. Looks like I just saw some drivers head out on track. Let me just check the TSL timing screen. So it looks like the session is live. The green flag is out, and I can see some... Oh, there we go. Roman Grandel is actually... There we go. He is here today. I just made a mistake. He's in Club Pro two-wheel drive, not Club two-wheel drive. So there we go. So I think he used to be Run We Brung, and now he's also transitioned to Club Pro two-wheel drive. Colin Dorward, the first driver out on track in that Mitsubishi Evo 9, the number 151 machine that you can see on your screens now. Perhaps let's follow him around just a little bit. You can see that cool down light flashing on the back of his car just to tell everyone that he is on a cool down lap, or in fact a warm-up lap, given that this is his out lap. He's just left the pit lane. And it'd be interesting to see when Simon Norris, if Simon Norris heads back out on track in this Mitsubishi Evo 9 short wheelbase car, because as is often the case when a car has been on a leave of absence for a little while and comes back, or is a new build, you know, it's not uncommon to have some teething issues. So I don't want to big this up too much. As much respect, obviously, as I have for Norris Designs and the work that they've done over the years, absolutely phenomenal. And I've seen the car on pictures and stuff here at Anglesey. But I don't want to hype it up too much. There we go, though. Simon Norris and the number 9 machine is out on track in the Pro Extreme Mitsubishi Evo 9. So it's going to be interesting to see that one. Very, very interesting indeed. The Norris Designs Evo is an absolute legendary name in Time Attack circles. Let's have a look here. Colin Dorward champ. Potentially. Let's see. So to answer your question, actually, so we had a few people say, can we have some sound for the cars on track, please? So I did just speak with our streaming technicians just now, and the problem is, I don't know if you've been to Anglesey, but it's a little island in the Irish Sea, and it is very, very windy. So much windy, so windy, in fact, that from what I understand, it might have actually blown over a couple of our cameras. What that means is, as soon as we switch on a microphone, it's just wind noise. Like, it's just gale noise overpowering the microphones. So as the weather currently stands, the wind is just much too loud, way louder than the cars are. At least, you know, for the microphones, because microphones just work that way. So yeah, so no engine sounds for now. If the weather improves and the wind dies down a little bit, then we'll be able to play with the levels and give you some engine noises. But for now, it's going to be pretty quiet just because the wind noise is too overpowering for those little guys. What's your favorite looking pro class car? Asked Corstafine Trail. Great question. I don't want to demonstrate any bias. But it's probably... No, I'm kidding. I must remain impartial at all times. But it would be good to see what you guys think in the comments. Ian Pittman here in the number 151 machine is a... oh, hang on. Colin Dord, sorry, in the number 151. Anyway, yep, that's what I meant. Oh, you can see that flame. Do you see the flame coming off the back of that as he heads into turn 1? Very cool. So these cars pumping out some big power, big flames, all that good stuff. And I just could not get over how crisp these visuals are. Let's look at that. It's almost like I am just stood in front of that car, which of course you don't want to do because they're going pretty quickly. But if I were, that's how it would look. Super visuals. And that's the number 68 machine of Paul Wright, the Subaru Impreza P1. P1, you ask? Is that the super rare two-door Subaru Impreza? And the answer is absolutely yes, because Paul Wright is a hero, and he has this rapidly appreciating classic that instead of just parking up and polishing in his garage, he whips around circuits for a time attack, which is absolutely what I would do. And so because of that, Paul Wright is a hero in my books. Anyway, let's have a look. Another hero then is the number 13 driver, Darren Spooner, in the Spooks Motorsport Peugeot 205. Just getting a bit of curb there in that little blue mean machine. Spooks Motorsport being iconic Peugeot tuners in the UK with a time attack presence that goes back for many years. Sometimes they enter multiple cars even. Last time around we had Andy York join us at Alton Park too. This time around it's Darren Spooner only in the Spooks Motorsport machine. And hot on his heels then are two Mitsubishi, what's this? Jeff Kershaw in the Turbo Technics machine, the number 3 Club Pro 4-wheel drive Ford Focus RS. Those of you wondering, wait, hang on. Huh? That's 4-wheel drive. Okay. I know the current shape Ford Focus RS is obviously 4-wheel drive, but this looks like an ST. Anyway, whatever it is, that this particular one is all-wheel drive. Jeff Kershaw in the Turbo Technics machine. Let's perhaps take a look at where our lap times are at right now. So Colin Dorwood then, who's relatively new on the scene, having been consistently quick ever since he crashed into Time Attack. And that number 151 Mitsubishi Evo was fastest until just now, where Andrew Barber has displaced him. We have two Mitsubishi Evo 9s right at the top of our timing screen. Colin Dord then in the extreme Mitsubishi Evo 9, having been displaced by the Club Pro 4-wheel drive machine of Andrew Barber. In fact, the BC Racing Pro 4-wheel drive, of Andrew Barber, the other Mitsubishi Evo 9. With a 1:13.4, so very, very quick lap times from these guys. Of course, both in these all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive machines, making the most of the greasy conditions, are completely unplussed by the fact that it's windy, the fact that it's drizzly, the fact that it's greasy. Currently dry, but greasy. And Colin who's this? We have, oh my goodness, we have another fastest time. A new challenger enters the arena in the form of Gary Hayward in the number 100 AP Tuning Mitsubishi Evo 7. One of the classic boys now jumping right up to the top in that older shape Mitsubishi Evo 7. with a 112.9. So the battle then heating up, and it's only warm-up. But nonetheless, our fast Evos right at the top of the timing screens, trading blows. Darren Spooner then on your screen now, leading his respective class, Club Pro 2-wheel drive with a 117.3, which is very, very fast indeed. But just to show you how quick these Pro four-wheel drive machines are, they are a whole 4 seconds faster. So there we go, because the number 100 machine of Gary Hayward, the AP tuning car, goes even faster still, the 112.9. And what's who we got here? Darren Spooner then. Not sure why that particular... Oh, here we go. So here's the Simon Norris. So there you go. So those of you in the comments who are waiting for the Simon Norris car to make a comeback, the short wheelbase Mitsubishi Evo of Norris Designs, there it is. There you can just see how stumpy that little car is with that short wheelbase. 2-door Mitsubishi Evo. And so Simon Norris then making the jump from the Colt back into that Mitsubishi Evo, right where he belongs. You can see it doesn't even have real headlights. So focused is its quest for lightweight. Very, very light machine indeed. And of course, Simon Norris is back in this car after a reasonably long absence. I haven't seen that car in ages. And so he's gone out, set a few ginger laps, and is now back in the pit lane, is Simon Norris. Jeff Kershaw then in that Turbo Technics Club Pro four-wheel drive machine. That Ford Focus all-wheel drive. I'm going to need to find out why that's all-wheel drive. Yep, there we go. Let's have a look at what you guys are saying in the comments. Here we go. For some reason, can't add pics. Oh, here we go. Leandro Silva, who's planning to do Time Attack next year. Thank you. Please do follow up and commit. It would be good to see you here. It's a 1.8 MX-5 Mark 2.5. Oh, okay, my mistake. That is a facelift. Oh, I could only see a little tiny picture, so I do apologize. All motor, Clubman class, just some final legal requirements for the class. Fully refurbished running gear / engine. Thank you for the kind words. Yes, I love an MX-5. I've had many of them in the past. I think about 7. Turbocharged, supercharged, naturally aspirated, all kinds of stuff. Great cars, and you're going to have a good time, absolutely. If you're in Clubman, you're going to be naturally aspirated. Anglesey would probably be pretty good for you. So would Cadwell Park. That's probably going to be the circuit where you'd feel most natural in that MX-5. Yeah, you're going to have a great time. I'm feeling quite jealous, actually. I daily drive a Toyota MR2 right now, and I'm always tempted to just come and do some Time Attack in that. But it's not a very quick car. But of course, in Time Attack, you're kind of competing with yourself, aren't you? As well as your competitors. Anyway, so let's have a look at what's happening on our timing screens then. Currently, right at the top, we have Gary Hayward clinging on to that top spot with that 1 minute, 12 second point. Say, never mind that, because Paul Doyle has just gone fastest of all in that Pro Extreme BC Racing Subaru Impreza. Massive, massive aero on that car. Anyone there who's seen the Paul Doyle machine will know it's got this massive, really oversized aerodynamic kind of wing spoiler on the back of it. And it makes so much downforce that it actually, I remember seeing it break itself at Cadwell Park. It's just, yep, such is the speed of the car. And in relation to that, the downforce it's making, it actually overpowered the wing mounts, and that just collapsed. So Paul Doyle really pushing the boundary with how fast he can make that thing go. And currently leading the way with that 1 minute 12.3 second lap. We've got 2 minutes of the session remaining. Let's perhaps take a look at the number 57 car of Stuart Sims, the GR Performance Mitsubishi Evo 6. So we have Mitsubishi Evos of all vintages here with us today, including Chris Cherry in an Evo 5. And then from that point onwards, we go. We do not have any Mitsubishi Evo 10s. Actually, no one's been able to answer this for me, why people don't do Time Attack in the 10th chassis of Mitsubishi Evo. From what I've heard, they're a lot more complicated to work on, but it would be good to see somebody with that experience weigh in on the comments. But at least chassis 5 to 9 are very well represented here at Time Attack. So let's have a look. So there you go. That's Paul Doyle's machine. Then you can see that massive arrow that I was just talking about. Just trying to count how many elements are on that that wing. Actually, many. You can even see it's got that fan running in the back. Not entirely sure what that's for, but it's probably there to make it go fast. So we go Paul Doyle then, fastest of all with a 112.3. Just ahead of Gary Hayward with a 112.6, so only 0.2 seconds between our two front runners. Hopefully that bodes well for an action-packed day, and we'll see a bit of a fight, even though these two are in different classes. But it will be interesting. So far, we do also have on our entry list some cars in GT3 Sports Car and Prototype class. I haven't yet seen anybody on track. Phil Reed in that Pace Ward Nismo GTR GT3. Let's see how that pans out during the day. Here we go, 45 seconds of the session remaining. So we've got Paul Doyle still at the... Oh, we got a car stopped on track. Probably get a little yellow for that. You can see the marshal waving the green just on the other side, which would imply there's a yellow before the incident. That was a blue Mitsubishi Evo of some description. Who might that be? Steve Reed? Maybe? I think that's who that could be. Anyway, yeah, so that will probably bring out a yellow just in that second sector towards the end of the lap, which means we're unlikely to see anybody improve on their lap times in the closing seconds of this. We got a red flag, in fact, not even a yellow. We have got a red. Well, really, because that car is stopped pretty much on the racing line, on the start-finish straight. So, especially with this weather, you come out of bus stop, you get a little bit crossed over, you want to make the most of the width of the track, you're going to hit the back of that car that's stopped out on track. So there we go, red flag, which is now neatly segued into a checkered flag, and that rounds up our running in our pro class. So our drivers then are just going to file their way back into the pit lane. Those of you who are following along on the TSL timing screens have all of those lap times at your fingertips. Otherwise, as of today, they are also here on your screens, arranged by class, super handy. So all of that data is right there. So Paul Doyle then peeling off into the pit lane in the number 245 Subaru Impreza of BC Racing. And so there we go. So that rounds up our pro session. Bearing in mind, this is warm-up only, so don't get too excited about these lap times. And then here we go. So the results are up on your screens. And then that's it for Time Attack warm-up. We will see you back at, we're a little bit behind schedule, so we'll see you back probably at around 12:15 for Time Attack practice. So let's just run through these results, and then I will sign off, and we will see you shortly.